Hello and welcome to another segment of Delaware State University Inside Perspective. I'm Carlos Holmes, and this is the show where we talk with faculty, staff, students, alumni, and even people from the outside of the campus about things that are going on in the world and some of the great things that are going on at the Delaware State University. Today I have a student, a Fisheries Management major, Caitlin Berchtold. Welcome, Caitlin.
Thank you, Carlos.
Now, I'm having you on the show today because I heard that you were very instrumental in some legislation that was recently passed and enacted, signed by the governor. And where are you from, first of all?
I'm from Clayton, Delaware.
Clayton, Delaware, nearby here, just north of us.
Nice and close.
So what's the deal? This is you with David Sudeikis, who is head of the Department of Natural Resource and Environmental Control's Fish and Wildlife Department. And you're holding a piece of legislation that apparently just passed one of the chambers of the House, of the General Assembly. Tell me the story. What happened there?
So that was the day on June 27th when it passed through the House.
What is this? Now, start at the beginning.
Okay, so this is Senate Bill 220. It all started when I was a student at a different college. I was at Unity College of Maine. And in Maine, they have a Maine sportsman license plate where 50% of the proceeds goes to hatcheries, 10% endangered species, and the other percentages to boat launches and other things in Maine. So I decided I wanted a custom license plate in Delaware. And for my birthday, my dad bought me the custom license plate that says Bassmaster. And I thought, why can't I have a fish on it too? And the closest thing we have in Delaware is the marine mammal plate. So I decided to bring it up to Delaware that I think we should have a place.
Now, where did you bring this up at?
I went to the Advisory Council on Recreational Fishing Funding as a guest, which is held at Legislative Hall. I went to the Delaware Public Meeting Calendar online, looked up all their fisheries meetings, tried to find which one was most relevant to my topic, and I just showed up.
And you started giving some input.
I did. I just walked right in. I actually was late. My little sister had an awards ceremony that night at the same time, so of course my little sister comes first. So I walked in late, just started spewing my mind.
But that got the ball rolling.
Yes, it did.
Okay, so you continued with this process and promoting this idea.
Yes, I actually looked up every other state in the country, their license plates, and if they have one similar that benefits wildlife and fisheries, looked up where the money goes, the designs and everything, and I presented that to the Advisory Council on Recreational Fishing.
So you did some of the research for them?
Oh yes, I did lots of research.
Okay. Now, just to be clear, you did not participate in the writing of the legislation, but that was a combination of the DNREC officials and the legislatures.
A lot of it was my input, and they asked me my opinion at the meetings, but I did not actually write it.
Okay.
They just took my input for it.
But the bottom line is you took initiative here. I find that admirable. You took initiative to go outside of the classroom for an experience that relates to your major, right?
Yes.
How did this benefit what you're doing, your academic journey, and your career aspirations?
Well, I've learned that fisheries management and working for fish and wildlife is not just working with animals and out in the field, it's a lot of politics too, which is...
So you need to learn that too.
It's definitely a lot of politics, because this bill took a lot of interesting discussions at the public meetings and at the council meetings, Legislative Hall, a lot of debates, whether or not we should waste our time with this, whether there should be one plate or two. Took quite a bit of effort. Even the species on the plates it was a lot of politics.
Now, what are your aspirations career-wise once you graduate from Del State?
I'm hoping that once I graduate, I can find a job as a fisheries biologist, specifically in Delaware. That's where I'd love to be, working under Mr. Sudeikis.
You want to stay in the first state?
I do. My heart is here.
Okay. Now this is a sore point with you, I know. You're just about a senior.
Just about. Since I transferred from that college in Maine, some of the courses I took as a freshman there count as graduate courses here. So they couldn't accept those credits towards my undergraduate degree.
Okay. So you will be graduating in December?
Of 2020. No, 19, sorry.
December 2019.
2019,
okay,
yes.
Okay. So this has been a great experience for you. I guess I find this so admirable because it would seem to me that students in other academic disciplines can find other experiences outside the classroom to be involved with that will augment you know, the experience they're getting and the knowledge that they're getting within their majors. Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree. I do a lot of outside work outside the classroom. I went to the Maryland Department of Natural Resource website, went to their directory, found a bunch of names fisheries biologists, contacted them, said, hey, can I stock some trout? So now every spring and fall with Maryland, I spend a few days, long days, hiking up mountains with buckets of trout.
Wow.
I also do a lot with Delaware over the summer with fish. I just reach out to people. And actually, I started up in Maine. I went to fisheries meetings up there as a freshman and brought that down here.
Now, I know women, there are women that like to fish, and I know, but you seem to have a particular passion. But where did that come from?
Came from my father. He had me fishing when I was 3 years old. I remember my first fishing trip. We're sitting, it's like a movie, sitting on the edge of a dock, my first fishing pole right next to my dad. You know, it was in the evening, so it was a gorgeous sunset. And my first fish was a catfish, which I know. For sure.
What's your dad's name?
Brian.
Brian Berchtold.
Yes.
Okay, well, Dad, looks like you did a good thing here. And yes. So you have actually a copy. They gave you a, what is that, a copy of the bill?
So last night I went to Advisory Council on Wildlife and Freshwater Fish for the state of Delaware at the DENREC building right here in Dover. And after the meeting, David Savakis, Director of Fish and Wildlife, gave me a manila envelope from the governor's office. And when I opened it, it was a copy of Senate Bill 220, and it was actually the ceremonial signatures.
Hold that up.
So this is a photocopy, since I was too afraid, of course, to bring the actual one to Del State, especially since it's been raining all week. But this is a photocopy, and the one I have at my house, John Carney actually signed, and it has the date and time. So it says received at the executive office, 3:30 on July 10th.
Okay, you need to frame that.
Oh, I definitely will be.
Well, I hope other students listen to your story and take that as something they might do with their own particular majors to find outlets outside, experiences outside the classroom that will augment their knowledge about their major and, you know, help them to become more expertise in what they're learning to become. And thank you so much for being on my show.
Well, thank you, Carlos.
And thank you for joining me for another segment of Delaware State University Inside Perspective. See you next time, everyone. Have a good day.